Talk to me. WSRadio.com.
The San Diego Council on Literacy brings you Literacy for All with your host, Jose Cruz.
Welcome to the show. I'm Jose Cruz from the San Diego Council on Literacy. You're listening to the Literacy for All radio show on WS Radio. And our guest is actually someone who's been on the show a couple of times. This will be the third time for Chad Stewart. He's the director and board chair for the Britfield Institute. Welcome back, Chad.
Jose, thank you for so much for having me back on. It's great to hear you.
Well, it's great to have you back, and I'm really curious. The first thing that jumps out to me in looking at your guest questionnaire, we usually talk about Chad Stewart, the author, and I love that. I love the book. I've read it. It was one of those books you couldn't pull away from, and those are the best kind. But I kind of pick up from your questionnaire that there's a whole business aspect and more beyond the book that you're really into right now.
Yes, correct. On the one side we have the Britfield and Lost Crown series. We launched book one in August, nationally launched it. We're getting ready for our global launch in fall, and that was part of a school tour across the nation, which we can talk about. Now, on the other side, you have the Britfield Institute. That's our not-for-profit side, and that's really our focus on schools and educators, teachers, and students, and really, number one, trying to bring creativity back to the classroom, and number two, really trying to promote literacy and reading and getting kids excited about reading again.
Very good. So do you have a teaching background, Chad? Because you and schools just seem to do well together. It's just not really easy, I would say, for a lot of folks to break in and to have a place in a school assembly. And how many of these have you done?
Yeah, real quick. So we launched our national school tour last year, kind of piloted it in California in the spring, and then fully launched it in the fall, and then we launched it again this year. I ended up driving 9,000 miles, been to 18 states, over 150 schools, and have presented in front of around 30,000 students, anywhere from about 200 to 400 that's always put together in an assembly. And the ages range from 4th to 8th grade, and then most of the teachers are there, and then we also invite the families and moms, because it's just a great presentation for moms and everyone. And they usually last about 40 to 45 minutes, very interactive, very energetic, and then we do Q&A for about 15, 20 minutes, and the hands are just going up like crazy, and I have to cut it off, and there's still 30, 40 hands up. So it's really fun, but my teaching background is interesting. I was a British literature major and European history major at Brown University, so that was interesting. That's sort of my background. That explains a lot about Britfield and Lost Crown.
Yeah.
But I've been teaching for the last, I'd say about 4 years, just as an adjunct professor over at Point Loma Nazarene University. And that was a great opportunity that opened up just about 4 years ago to teach a film and media class. And I remember a professor, a friend of mine over there that's a professor, he's been there for about 20 years, he said, "Are you interested in teaching a class?" And I was like, well, not really, because it wasn't something I was focused on. It wasn't something I was doing. And you're right. I didn't have that kind of background. And it really is. It's a whole nother ball game. I've got decades of education and study, undergraduate, graduate, even working on a PhD now. But it's different when you're sitting versus presenting. And so it was really fun. It was a great challenge for me. And that first class went really well. It was a small group. And part of it is I had a lot of models, as an educator, as a researcher. We have theories. You can read all you want, and you can read all the articles you want. But it's not until you get out there and start to sort of test your models or your hypothesis. And so it was a great way to sort of test that model. I ended up doing film and media. I've taught over at the business school, I've taught management. I've taught communications, which has been fun. And I've also taught marketing, like a senior-level marketing class. So I've taught four distinct different groups. So that has helped a lot. I also taught at an academy for a couple of years.
Right.
And
you're wearing a lot of hats. Before I go on to that, I need to ask you, knowing Point Loma Nazarene College. Do you have a fan base there? Do you have a lot of folks who have read the Britfield and the Lost Crown?
Not really, because I haven't been back for about. I took this last year off because of the school tour, and so I think I might have piloted some of it in one of the classes and stuff, kind of as a teaser. But I wish I did. I wish I had a huge college fan base, but I don't. But the kids are great. I love. My favorite classes are the communications class. It's the freshmen. They come in. They're so excited, and usually about 30, 35 students. And those are fun classes because I get to bring in all kinds of stuff. You know, as far as we get to watch commercials, we'll watch movie clips.
Yeah.
We do a lot of fun stuff. Yeah.
Well, tell me the average age of the person who's picking up your first book. Who's reading? Who's reading Britfield in the Lost Crown?
That's a great question, and we just won another book award this week. I was very excited. We've won 5 more book awards in the last month. We've already won over 20 to 25 book awards, national and international. So it's like stunning. But it's a great question because I just talked with my mom's friend this morning, and my mom had given her a Britfield book, and she's got to be in her late 70s, early 80s, and she's like, oh my gosh, she goes, I loved your book so much. She goes, I couldn't put it down, and she's like this incredible fan. So I'm using that as an example, like real life, that was like hours ago. And so our youngest reader's 7, our oldest reader's been 93. But what's so interesting about Britfield and Lost Crown is I'd say half our audience are moms and parents and adults because it's just a great, fun, exciting story.
Oh, well, I have to tell you, because I've been a fan, a Chad Stewart fan for a long time. You bring a lot of enthusiasm. And you've been out there and you're promoting our cause. You're promoting reading and literacy and such.
Absolutely.
And everyone's talking about this book. I said, it couldn't be that good. And I finally sat down and finished it in short time. I think you have somebody who's read it in 5 hours, but it took me a few days.
Yeah.
But it's like, man, I want to know what's going to happen next, So
yeah, it pulls you in, and that's kind of the way, in my opinion. It doesn't matter, what you're writing, whether it's a family drama or a romantic comedy or an action adventure. You need to move your story. Story's everything, and you really need to move it along. And I think too many people get kind of stuck in bridging it with too much detail and stuff. But a lot of that came from my background in film writing. And I don't want to get off topic, but that helped a lot. And real quick, as a seed to plant, I've started book 3. And so if you wanted to talk about that at some point, I'd be happy to talk about it.
I want to get my hands on book 2, so that I'm going to work on that. And I'm going to do things a little bit out of order because, again, being a fan of the first book and talking about the first Britfield movie, I know you're in pre-production talks. How confident are you feeling about this happening?
Oh, 100%, literally. Not 99%, but 100%. There will be a Britfield Lost Crown movie. It probably will be about 2 to 3 years. We are in talks right now with a couple of people up in L.A. and have been. And it's kind of interesting because, I think for everybody, because of this national and then global crisis that's hit us, 8 weeks ago, it has slowed things down. It has affected many things. Now, with that said, we've been busier than ever, and we have adjusted. And this is a time to be very creative and innovative, and so we've adjusted. I mean, I literally was on my school tour, and I was in Memphis, Tennessee, first week in March, just doing 2 schools back to back, Monday, Tuesday, almost 1,000 students, and all of a sudden it's like, okay. And I drove back. I had to drive. It took me about a week to get back. It took me so long to get to Memphis, Tennessee, because it's a driving trip. And, it's like, and I wanted to get to Kentucky. I've never been to Kentucky, and I thought, finally, I get to get to Kentucky. I'm like right there on the border, and I'm like, and we were going to go for like another 2.5 months. But let's get back to the film. So, no, I'm very excited about it. I think the next steps is to find, the right scriptwriter for it, and that's going to be someone that's used to sort of those huge blockbuster films, especially action and adventure. So that just finding that right fit is going to be very, very key. And that could be anywhere from a 3 to 12-month process, but it doesn't mean, that because you could write the first draft in about 3 months, but then it's going to go through many rewrites. Now, I've blocked it out in my mind and have written it as a script in my mind. I won't be the script writer. I'll hire someone that does this full-time and quote-unquote a professional, but I probably will help with it. But it is interesting because if you think of a 2-hour movie, what that means is it means a 120-page script. and every single page represents 1 minute. So you shouldn't be getting a 150-page script. That's silly. You know what I mean? You should be getting about 120-page, 118-page script. And so we have a 384-page book, although it's not the same size as a typical script. But again, too, with a book, most of your stuff, I mean, I might spend a paragraph or two describing something, but in a movie, you open up the camera in the first second, there it is. You know what I mean? So you're not describing it, you're showing it. Yeah, so, but very excited about it. We're probably thinking, of about I'd say about a $35 to $40 million budget. Now, now by Hollywood standard, that would equivalent to about $120, $130 million budget. So we've got our own production team. We'll be probably partnering with aspects of Hollywood, and we'll be hiring some of the best people in Hollywood. But we won't be doing this film through the Hollywood filter where they can corrupt it and undermine it and destroy the creativity and take all the money. So a $40 million budget, which is realistic for Britfield Lost Crown, would, by Hollywood standards, is about $130, $150 million budget. So I don't want to downplay it. And you're like, oh, $30 million, it doesn't sound like a lot. It's actually about $150 million. So we're talking huge blockbuster, and I also believe that this will potentially be one of the most anticipated and one of the most successful films in cinematic history. That's my prediction.
Well, I feel that. I feel that, Chad. We're gonna take a break in just a few. I wanted to get to some of the other things that are taking place out there, but it sounds to me like people in Hollywood have also read your book, and they know a good thing when they see it. So I'm looking forward to book 2, 3, and the movie and everything. And we're going to come back with Chad Stewart in just a few minutes. You're listening to the Literacy for All radio show on WS Radio, the worldwide leader in Internet talk.
I've heard this is like one of the best pizza spots in town.
Yes, it is.
I'll do a slice of pepperoni, slice of vegetarian.
You got it.
And I will pay for all of that in 3 days.
In 3 days?
What's that mean? Well, wait, you accept credit cards. That money's not going to hit your account for 3 days anyway.
I need my money quicker.
At Chase, we hear you. With Express Funding, card payments are in your Chase account the next business day. Go to chase.com/express funding. Chase for business, so you can.
Compensated participation. All businesses are subject to credit approval. Not all clients are eligible for next business day funding, and additional terms, conditions, and restrictions apply.
Donate cash, furniture, clothes, and other gently used household items to Father Joe's Villages and get a nice tax break in April. Every donation is tax deductible. Believe you can make a difference. Be Father Joe. Go to neighborhood.org or call 1-800-HOMELESS to donate today.
Life is full of misadventures, from car crashes to home fires to getting choked out on the mat. Yes, I said getting choked out because I'm Carlos Kramer, jiu-jitsu competitor, MMA and media personality, and mild-mannered insurance agent. You can follow my adventures on Kick-Ass Radio, and I can protect you from life's misadventures at Kramer Insurance. Home, auto, life, business, and workers' comp. We're at KramerINS.com, and I want you to join my world.
This is Bill Gruber with BizVid Communications, a Southern California video production leader. We've been honored to sponsor, produce, write, and host many of the fine programs on WS Radio over the years. So we understand how important the internet and your website exposure are. As video producers, we know the tricks and secrets to incorporate video to increase your search engine optimization and business success. Visit bizvidcommunications.com to see what we can do for you. BIZVID communications.com.
Too much to do? Not enough time to get it done? Call on the experts at Another 8 Hours for your business support needs. By partnering with Another 8 Hours, we allow you to focus on the more important matters, like being in front of your clients, doing what you do best, rather than being stuck at a desk poring over paperwork, rummaging through emails, returning phone calls, and struggling to get everything done by yourself. Meanwhile, your family and social life are going down the drain. Go to another8hours.com or call 8 more hours. That's 866-734-6877.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, VinVillage.com, where wine lovers connect. Be sure to tune in weekly to Vin Village Radio for exclusive, in-depth interviews with the who's who in wine and food.
Can you imagine a world without children? A world where children don't play, or dream, or imagine?
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, we're working every day to find cures for diseases that strike down children. Because we can't imagine a world without children. Can you?
Finding cures, saving children. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. To learn how you can help, log on to our website, stjude.org.
Talk to me. WSRadio.com.
The San Diego Council on Literacy brings you Literacy for All with your host, Jose Cruz.
Welcome back to the show. We're talking to Chad Stewart. He's the director and board chair for the Britfield Institute. He's also the author of Britfield and the Lost Crown. And Chad, I think you have your next 4 or 5 books already planned out, don't you?
I do, yeah. Book 2 is, so book 1 is takes place in England, takes place at present time, and it's 384 pages. Book 2 takes place in France. It's 540 pages, and it's 100% finished and ready to go, but we'll be launching that next year. And then book 3 is in Italy. I just started writing that or outlining it about 4 weeks ago, and that's really exciting. And then it's interesting, too, because as I was started to write book 3, which is in Italy. Now Tom and Sarah, the 2 main characters, they're 14. In book 1, they were 12, and then in book 2, they're 13. I actually started to think a little bit about book 4, and that's never happened to me before. And I already see where it's going. It's already, because like a lot of people ask me, like, do you have the whole thing worked out? And I'm like, no, I don't. I kind of go book by book, and I know some authors do. They sort of have a really good sense of a 3 to 5 book series. They already know how the last book will end. I don't. But it was very interesting that I'm already kind of excited. I mean, I've got such a long road ahead of me on book 3, but I could feel book 4, and so that's kind of exciting. Wow. So,
God. You know, if I never get out to France or Italy, I'll have your book with me, and
absolutely,
and that'll help a little bit. I have to ask you this question because. Sure. We have a certain perception of writers, and a lot of times they're just very introverted. Maybe that's just a stereotype. But, man, you're out there, you're traveling, you're moving, you're promoting at the deepest levels, and you're writing. Who is Chad Stewart? Are you a writer? Are you a promoter? What's motivating you to do this work? Because you don't stop. And not only that, like you say, you're wearing all these hats.
Sure.
You man, worry about you, man.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's a great question too. And I'll be honest, I am an introvert, and so it's funny. I mean, I can get up on a stage in front of 300-400 people, and be dynamic, and turn on the juice, if you will, and high energy, and ask the questions, and do all of that, which is a blessing, but it's not my preference. We've often joked about bringing in like a body double that could do the tour, So I am an extrovert. I like my quiet. I like my time. I like my alone time. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like to hang out with friends and do stuff, but I really don't like crowds. I don't like big parties. I don't go to those kind of things. So that's kind of, interesting. On the other side of it is, I think a lot of it is that no one knows this product better than I do. It started as a concept and idea 10 years ago, so it's been 10 years worth of hard work, discipline, patience, and I say a lot of that when I'm giving my presentations. Over 150, maybe 200 presentations I've already done to anywhere from 4th to 8th graders and students and parents and teachers. That it's like we live in this flashover substance society. It's like I want it now and I want success now, and that's not a reality. Yeah. Number one, number two, it never happens that way. I tell them that every overnight success takes at least 1 to 2 decades, and I say the difference between a hobby and a profession is about 10,000 hours. And all of that is accurate. All of that is accurate. And I don't say it to discourage, but it's like anything. I say, look, forget writing. It's like anything. It's like a sport. How good are you going to get at basketball if you go out and practice 1 hour a week? I mean, nothing. What if you go out a couple of hours a week? Yeah, all right. But what if you were to go an hour every day? What if you were to spend 2 hours every day? So it's really no different. No matter what the hobby, no matter what the profession, no matter what you're doing, it just takes time, and it takes discipline, and patience and hard work, and so I think a lot of it is like. When do you do your writing, Chad? How do you? What's that time that you carve out where you're writing? Yeah, I'm a morning person, so I'm up about 5:30, And it's so funny because I know some people don't come alive until 6 at night, right? 7 at night. And for me, I don't get it both ways. I wish I could. It's like, I'm so burned out by 6 p.m. So I don't keep going. But I'm a morning person. Yeah. I love writing in the morning. Right now, because we're so busy with the launch of book 1, but I really wanted to start to get into book 2. I spend about an hour and a half in the morning on the outline for book 1. It's a great way to kind of kick off the morning because it's very creative and it's fun, and at least you're keeping your fingers in it. And so, from 7 to 8:30, I'll write, and then from 8:30 on for the rest of the day, I'm doing marketing and business and phone calls. And then on the weekend, I get my weekends, and so that's my time to really plug in and write.
Very good. I want our listeners to hear what I'm going to say right now. Because you're promoting our cause. Part of the challenge out there is the availability, access to literature that's going to touch young people. And I'm looking at your awards for juvenile fiction, for preteen fiction, and yes, I do love your work. But there's awards for children's fiction and just the things that we need today, young adult books, etc. Sure. that are a hook. So, I thank you for that work, and I want people to know about, the Britfield Institute and what you're doing with that, but also just, the literature that you're putting out there that's going to appeal to young people who quite often they don't want to read.
No, and we've received so much feedback, not only from our audience but from parents, and they're like, my son doesn't read. I don't know what you did, but he's already 150 pages into the book, and a lot of that's the way we've designed it. I mean, it's 4 years, 2,500 hours to write book 1, and we piloted it at middle schools. I think, as I said on past programs. But it's just it's exciting. It's fun. What's great about the book is it's based on family values. It's based in current times, so it's not off in some fantasy world. And I get that. I grew up with James and the Giant Peach and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, some of the classics that I love. But the difference with Britfield and Lost Crown is it's as close to reality as possible. And so kids can relate to it a lot better. And it actually teaches them. It teaches them critical thinking. It teaches them communication, collaboration, and it's educational. They learn about history, geography, art, architecture. Right. And I don't just say that for the kids. I say that for the adults, And it's fun. It's fun. You go. Yeah. I take you to all the best places that I've traveled to in England, and I'm sharing it with you. And I think that love of England, the love of what I've done, the love of my writing comes through, and it just pulls you in and embraces you. So.
Very good. I wanted to, because you've stayed current with things. It's not just writing a book, but there's things happening now. We're in the age of COVID-19, and you've stepped in and done some things that help us deal with just the isolation that we're experiencing. Do you want to talk about that and just how you perceive this crisis transforming education and business?
Yeah, I believe that we're at a tipping point, meaning that we're on the road to recovery. I think it was obviously extremely overstated, unfortunately, and a lot of that was political. It's not as bad, it's not as bad as last year's flu. And in fact, it's not even as bad as last year's flu. But needless to say, I just want to encourage people that we are on the road to recovery. There's a lot of people that are awake out there, know what is going on, and they're excited about opening up their shops, getting back to business. But I also think it's a time where we just have to innovate and be creative. It's hard, I get it. And for some people that have an actual brick and mortar store, I mean these poor independent bookstores, you know what I mean. But a lot of people are doing things that are inventive. I know there's a place in Carmel Valley. It's a shop that. It was a coffee and pastry shop, but they kind of reinvented themselves over the last 6 weeks, and now they're doing takeout meals and you can pick up a grocery bag of stuff and they prepare it. You can cook it at home, and so they're trying to stay alive and they're trying to adjust. And I think we've done a lot of that because it's our main impact was actually being out there, on the road and selling books. And so we did a 5-week series, webinar series, and again, yes, I'm relatively technology savvy and stuff. I've done plenty of Skype and Zoom calls. I never did a webinar. Until 6 weeks ago.
Chad, I have to cut you off, and I'm sorry. We're going to have you back because we need some updates on that movie. So thank you for being on the show again. And Thank you to our listeners. This was Chad Stewart. He's the director and board chair of the Britfield Institute. You've been listening to the Literacy for All radio show on WS Radio, the worldwide leader in Internet talk.
I raised $8,000 to build schools for South African children. After realizing how many people go hungry in San Diego, I now volunteer at a food pantry.
I'm spending the next year doing volunteer projects across 3 countries and helping in ways they designate to be the most helpful.
The World Link program at the Joan B. Kroc Institute for Peace and Justice recognizes the potential of youth as agents of social change. Learn how you can help youth become a generation of leaders in action at peace.sandiego.edu.
In the military, things can change in an instant. Your personal life is just the same. Just like you protect our country, you want your family protected. That's why thousands of military members trust Navy Mutual Life Insurance. Navy Mutual is nonprofit, providing current and former Navy, Marine, and Coast Guard families with life insurance, no sales fees, and no military service restrictions. Protecting members on active duty and beyond. Call 1-800-628-6011, 800-628-6011, NavyMutual.org, insuring those who serve.
Nowadays, internet devices are an integral part of your home. Everyone in your family has a smartphone, tablet, or a computer. Life is easier knowing that all your devices are secured and your family can surf the internet carefree. ESET Multi-Device Security Pack does just that. One license for all your devices. With ESET, it's simple to stay protected and save money. Enjoy safer technology with ESET Multi-Device Security Pack at ESET.com. That's ESET.com.
I've heard this is like one of the best pizza spots in town.
Yes, it is.
I'll do a slice of pepperoni, slice of vegetarian.
You got it.
And I will pay for all of that in 3 days.
In 3 days?
What's that mean? Well, wait, you accept credit cards. That money's not going to hit your account for 3 days anyway.
I need my money quicker.
At Chase, we hear you. With Express Funding, card payments are in your Chase account the next business day. Go to chase.com/expressfunding. Chase for business, so you can.
Compensated participation. All businesses are subject to credit approval. Not all clients are eligible for next business day funding, and additional terms, conditions, and restrictions apply.
Tired of presentations with no impact, no inspiration, and no traction? Do dull speakers have you and your team disengaged and distracted by smartphones? Christopher McCullough brings energy, insights, and 2 decades of experience, delivered with punch, humor, and heart. Your team will leave energized, uplifted, and with a sense of purpose. Visit ChristopherMcCullough.com to bring some heat to your next speaking engagement. McCulloughe. ChristopherMcCullough.com.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit moesguitars.com or their Facebook page. MOZEguitars.com, 619-698-1185.